born and raised in New York City. I was raised with my mom's family, my grandparents, my mother's sisters, and all my cousins. I'm the oldest cousin. We come from a long line of singers. We count 8 generations of basically female singers in their maternal line. My mother tells me that I sang before I talked. So when people ask me what's my first language, I tell them singing. So I do remember, singing always singing. Always singing. So that's probably, and I remember sitting at the piano making music all the time as a little teeny person. So I'm Tuscarora, Deer Clan, and on my mom's side, and I have other ancestry as well as African and Scottish. And on my dad's side, he's basically Taino and Corsican. So those are my blood lineages. I've lived in many states and places. I travel a lot. I travel all around the world. I travel a lot to Europe to sing festivals with a band and with my women's hand drum group, Eulalie, and we're kind of the first women's drum group to do what we did. And we started just about 30 years ago. Yeah, so we've traveled all over singing harmony and hand drum songs. So we've done a lot of collaborative work with many artists and recording artists and film footage, and all. I mean, we do a lot. I'm a mother. I have 2 kids. They're well in their 30s. I have no grandchildren, but now I'm helping to raise 3 little girls. I now live in northern Saskatchewan, up in the bush on the tree line, right there between the Cree, Métis, and Dene communities. Those are just a few little things about me. I do all kinds of stuff. I work with youth and elders. I did that for years back home in North Carolina in my communities. I lived in Robeson County for a long time. That's home to about 60,000 Indians. I'm becoming very, very, very concerned about, of course, the energy source, trying to think of ways to promote youth to begin to lead and become, dive into sustainable energy. As you have all these uranium companies up north where they court, they enslave the communities. They have them working on their own land, mining. People are very sick. And we have to turn this around. I don't know how, but it's the youth, So that's my concern these days. And so my art, my music, and the next body of music I do will probably emanate a lot of that, some way, in a positive way, messages and so forth. I feel very connected to the source, and that's what feeds me music. So in a sense, that is ancestral. But yeah, I know songs that have been passed down through many people and families, and the songs are being passed to different people, not necessarily within your nation. Sometimes it's within your nation, sometimes it's not. I sing a lot of canoe songs. I like to be on the water. So I write a lot of canoe songs. Those just come out effortlessly. When songs come to me, there are no words. It's just vocables, you can call it. That's a word in English that they've named when you're singing. That doesn't mean anything. It's spirit is what it is, singing. So a lot of language comes like that to me. And then, of course, there's some other things I write in English, and other songs I write, I have translators help me translate in many different languages. So I think there's an element of just the connection itself, which is very sacred. You're becoming part of spirit. When you become a part of spirit, that connection right there it's considered ceremony to many people, right? Although we've been advised not to sing songs that are sacred in performances, only because most of those songs belong to a certain place and for a certain time. So I always feel like my ancestors are with me, and I can hear them. I can hear them. I even saw them coming on a bridge, and they were like stars, like little balls of light, hundreds of them, and then they started to become like formed like people. And they came down on the bridge, and there was my grandma in front of them. And she was just standing there, and she brought them with her, and I could hear them, just real happy, just shaking rattles and just singing. And there she was standing there, and like this. She always used to stand with her hand behind her back, and just smiling at me. And I met her, and yeah, so I could hear the music. I hear the music always. I can hear the music on the water. If you're standing on land, like especially down where I come from, when I'm standing in some of the fields, you feel that energy. And it's like a song will just, it's like you're plugged into the ground and the sound comes out. Singing is breath, right? It's oxygen, and it's breath, and it's life force. You're pulling in and you're putting out. So that alone, that circulation right there alone, it's very healthy. And when you put it together with intention and then with tone, and it's very healing, you know. So you're really, it's just healing. I don't know what else to say. It makes you strong. Sometimes you feel like you're levitating. When I sing with the girls, we're singing together. We could have an argument. We could be just like really bad mood or whatever. We get on stage, we sit down, and we begin our songs. And most of the time, the first songs we do are they're a cappella, right? So, and they're harmony. And they start off really soft and beautiful, and then they climb, and then it's like 7 songs in a row. And so we put each song after the next, and by the end of the song, we're just like, we're just, it's like the energy, and then it's done, and then we're just like, everything's fine. And you look out in the audience, and some people are going like this. So everybody's feeling it. So, you know, you change the energy in the room, you change the energy in the body, the mind, everything. So that's, to me, is where the strength is. Yeah. The best thing that has happened in my lifetime is the networking of Indigenous people, not only on Turtle Island, but globally. That's supposed to happen anyway, because we're the only ones, really, that are concerned that it has gone way too far now. And in this time of putting people to sleep, I'd say the best thing right now is that Indigenous people are, a good amount of them are waking up and trying to change the value of the way we see the planet and where it's going. I mean, we're dying. And so that to me is the best thing. You know, honoring the natural world and knowing that we are all a part of it, that we are born sacred beings, you know, and all these messages is what I would like for people, or specifically youth, to know. I mean, I try to leave behind music that'll help. I'm looking now, you know, for the messages. Sacred seed, DNA, the memory of all time. Mother's twin sons recorded code creates all the circles of life. Falling seed plant and couldn't see the up and down worlds collide. Over and over come a sacred birth, the blood earth sacrifice. A spinning orbit, Escanye, magnetosphere dance in flight. Expands Turtle Island, Pangea, stands skyward, trigger, well. Star, sun, and moon will coincide, control ocean tides together. Thunder, rain, fire, and hurricane, four winds and begin forever. Within each seed is a universe, within a universe. You and me and everything that breathes is connected to the sacred sea. Well, sacred sea, the DNA, the memory of all time. Mother's twin sons recorded code creates all the circles of life. Yeah.